Welcome to the BitGeek Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Avis, and sitting with me on the couch to my left is my co-host, the Prince of Pixels,
Nick Wright.
And joining us for the first time is our special guest host,
the White Machete.
And today we're going to be talking about 10 movies that scared us.
The White Machete.
The White Machete?
I felt like that was good. Is that I can use any name?
Wait, machete as in like
the White
Danny
Machete.
Trejo? Danny Trejo machete?
No, like a cutter. No, we're not doing it?
No, you're fine.
Taking it again?
You go with the White Machete.
I thought it was a good, spy name.
It totally was. It
If
totally
I was
was.
a
It just
spy,
threw
I
me
would
off.
want
It's
to be
like Nick
that.
sometimes gets thrown off if I don't say something I'm supposed to, and it's like, whoa.
If I were a spy, I'd want to be White Machete.
The White Machete. Well,
good?
now I know what to expect.
Did I say who I really
I
am?
never heard of you as referred to as the White Machete.
I was feeling it out.
I was taken aback.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I
here we
do
go.
something different?
No. You want to think about it, or do you want to stick with White Machete?
I don't know. It came to me just.
Oh, damn it.
It worked.
Okay. We did it, guys.
We did it.
All right, Nick. Here we are. We are talking about something that you typically do not care about.
Which is odd.
Well, I mean,
Movies that scared us. Scary movies.
I just don't really watch them that often.
Yeah.
It's
But
not,
I feel
it's
like-
not so much that I don't care. I just.
Well,
But
you
it's
know,
like a natural thing when you're
Being
11,
scared.
12,
Yeah.
13. That's what you do.
yeah,
You
know.
rent a scary movie. That's all there was to do.
Well, and that's what I did when I would go to Ron's house. You know,
I was the kid, the bad influence kid,
Yeah,
I
he
guess.
was
He was
the bad
allowed to
influence.
watch like movies like that.
So that's where I've actually probably most of them I've seen.
Most
is
of your
probably
movies,
at his
right?
house.
Your parents are like, damn, we did so good until Ron came along. Yeah, you saw like Aliens for the first time over my Alien, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Both Alien movies.
Yeah. Which did we see first?
Aliens, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we saw Aliens, and I was like, you've never seen Alien? Holy God, you got to see it. It's great. So we watched it. then.
And I like the Alien
Yeah.
franchise.
Well, Nick likes
And
monster.
Predator. I like Predator
Yeah.
franchise.
Nick's all about monster movies. Like, he digs
Yeah.
monster stuff. And even to be fair, like, we've talked about, monsters in movies that he's enjoyed that frightened me. So I was just a scared little kid, I guess, most of the time.
Aw.
Like Dark Crystal. Have you seen Dark
I
Crystal?
have, yeah.
Well, how will you feel
Well,
about Dark Crystal?
It was always very freaky when I was. I mean, to me, the puppets. I found it to be terrifying, but but I haven't gone back and seen that as an adult
Yeah.
to know how.
Oh, yeah. As
cornball
an
and weird
adult,
it
don't
is.
get me wrong. I mean,
As a
I
little
do
kid,
realize.
I was like, what?
I saw the Dark Crystal very young. Like, I was like 4 or 5 when it. I was not prepared to see that.
Yeah, and you surprised me at the part that you said you were scared about. I'm thinking like the little dog that comes out of the hole like, "Rawr!"
Yeah.
Fizzgig.
Yeah, Fizzgig.
That's the part that
No,
always
that
got
didn't.
me. But no, you're like bawling your eyes out in the beginning.
It was freaky, man. Those things were weird. Oh gosh, what's his name? Jim Henson?
Yeah.
Forgot his
good
name for
guy.
a minute. Dude was seriously on something when he was making that movie. He goes from, the Muppet Show to that. It was weird. It was a hard left turn, going from that to that. But it was a cool movie. I dig it.
We've kind of already had this conversation.
We
though.
did, but for the benefit of Kirstie, I'm just sort of cluing you in on my scaredy catness, I guess. But I'll watch a lot of scary movies nowadays.
Yeah, I think you've got me beat.
Yeah,
in
I
that
dig
department.
scary movies. I like to be scared because, when you talk scary movies, and when it comes to genres of movies, nothing to me beats comedies and scary movies because they give you that high and low. That it's the most raw emotion you feel while watching a movie.
I like scary games, like Resident Evil.
I don't.
And
I'm like, you know what? I don't enjoy this. I'm terrified. I'm putting it down. I'm walking away.
I'm just not patient enough, I guess, for those games. I want to get right
You
into
don't
the
play
action.
them either?
No, I played some Resident Evil games, but I've never finished one. And I've got the virtual reality version of the new Resident Evil game that I still need to play.
Yeah, 7.
Because I played the demo of that in VR, and I was just like, nope. It
know
was
that, yes.
scary. I did not
I know.
like
I'm
it.
all, check please.
it felt like being in a movie. Like my senses were just all screwed up. So that may be a perfect opportunity for me to jump into that whole survival horror thing. But yeah, I'll look out for movies all the time that are scary. I dig them. I force myself to watch these movies.
Are there certain movies that you kind of have a...
Like my favorite type of scary movie?
Well, like, I know devil movies for me. I've got to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah,
I'm
like...
I
So you mean
know,
like exorcism type stuff? Like
anything, yeah, where you're just
supernatural.
like, you got to be careful. You could manifest some sort of devil door in your house.
You got to watch out for those Ouijas.
Well,
Those Ouijas are always the cause of every bad thing to
well,
happen in a
that,
scary
or you're
movie.
just you're just scared. Oh no, your family's they've gone through some heartache, and now they've manifested a gateway to hell in the basement. And
Tell us more about these gateways to hell.
Why'd you look at me?
Because you laughed, and I feel like this is real.
Yeah, no, it's real.
Which
It's
is
totally
why
real.
this is why when
Everybody
I watch
knows
those
there are
movies,
true gateways to hell.
Well, yeah, this is why you gotta like acknowledge it and then be like, but you can't think about it because you don't want to make a gateway to hell
It deals with
in your
like
basement.
unknown things like afterlife. Like yeah, I like those kinds of movies.
I gotta watch those.
I dig those kinds of movies, and oh gosh, what else? I'm a
don't
sucker
dig
for a zombie movie. Like I'll watch a zombie movie almost every time, even though they're almost always the same.
Yeah.
Even like when it's in a show format like The Walking Dead, I'm a sucker for that. I
Still?
like.
You're still into that?
I'm
'Cause I
still
feel
watching.
I've kind of lost it.
I'm still
Lost
watching,
its
even though
luster.
my interest is fading. Like I'll watch them like 2-3 recorded at a time rather than like new every week.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But when it comes to scary movies, it doesn't really matter. I do like paranormal type stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's for sure one of my favorite.
Well, because it gets real. It gets real. That's my issue with the devil stuff too. I'm all like,
Yeah, like the
keep
devil
it
is
to
the
a
devil.
minimum.
Now you may not believe in zombies, but you might believe in the devil. There's a good chance you're going
I
to
know.
believe in the
There's
devil.
a saying you said to me
Yes.
long ago.
Oh.
Years.
Did I impart some wisdom on you
was
years ago that you
2008.
remembered?
You
2008.
said-
Okay.
2008.
I'm having a hard time regulating my internal temperature.
No, you did say that.
Okay.
But no, you said it's better than being raped by the devil. I always say,
Oh, now that is just not appropriate.
and that stuck.
I do
with
always
me.
say that, right, Nick?
And it stuck with me because it's true. Anything's better than that.
Yeah. I guess if you're gonna lay it all out there, 1 to 10, that's gonna be a 1.
It,
of things
what
you
was
wanna happen.
End of Days? It made me think of that.
End of Days?
remember-
Was that the Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and that deals with
that-
paranormal stuff, the devil and
And-
reincarnating of the devil, Rosemary's Baby type stuff.
And being raped by the devil.
Oh,
Remember that?
yeah.
I don't remember that actually.
Oh.
And that was a cool movie. I dug it, but it's hard to take a scary movie seriously when Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, here's my cross. I'm gonna exorcise the demons. Anyway, he always looks like he's
That
having a
was
stroke.
good.
Did you guys take my Arnold Schwarzenegger impression?
That was really good.
That
That
was a
is
cool
what
movie.
I always think of. It's him morphing in the
Crazy stroke.
Total Recall.
Okay. 2 weeks. Yeah.
where he's all like, "Ah," and he's morphing. Then it's also him in Conan the Barbarian. He's tied up, and the spirits are coming after him. He's all. "Ah,
He doesn't have a lot of
ah."
range.
I know. This is what we're getting down
Arnold,
to.
act scared, I guess.
Take it to your throat. It's in the back of your throat. No air out your nose. Frog it.
Frog it. Yeah, well, okay, I'm looking at our list. We have 10
Okay,
movies
yeah.
that like
Okay.
scared us, and some of these they do deal with like the paranormal. And then there are movies that are just like what the F kind of movies. Like these are
Yeah.
just strange movies. There are movies that deal with aliens, alien abduction type stuff, which always kind
Which
of
is
freak
real,
me out.
Nick.
Oh,
I
watch
believe-
Ancient Aliens all the time.
Aliens, yeah.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know, but I love his meme.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Yeah.
With the hair.
Oh yeah, the hair for sure.
The other guy's always like, you have to ask yourself.
You have to ask yourself.
Is such a thing even possible?
Yes, it is.
But
Okay, sorry.
I'm not
One-
saying
Okay.
it was aliens.
but
it
it's
was
aliens,
alien.
yeah. It's classic.
It's real.
But there was a time when that
Ancient
type of
astronaut theorists say yes.
yes. So, but you're into that, and I'm sure none of it scared you. Well, that's more interesting than anything else. Not a lot. I'm trying to look at them. A couple of these movies were released in a very impressionable age for me. And,
Yeah.
When you're a kid, and I was at home alone most of the time. But unlike Macaulay Culkin, well, there was no similarities between me and Macaulay Culkin at all. But we were home alone. That was it. My mom worked late. I would, stay up and watch cable because there was nobody there to tell me I shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was introduced to some of these real freaky, scary movies, these classic movies. And I guess I liked it enough to continue to look for them and watch them.
Yeah.
There's
a thrill.
It is. It's a thrill. It's
Nick
like a roller
doesn't
coaster.
know it, but I mean, we know it.
Well,
we know
Nick and I had a conversation, and it's just not of interest to him. That you have a finite amount of time, I guess, to do the things you like. And
I kind of remember one. I have no idea what the movie was, but it was one of those that was just like on cable TV when I was at your house.
Yeah. Once again at my house.
Yeah. And it's like they're in a barn or something, and there was like a cow skull like on the wall, like hanging on the wall. And it was like some kind of like demon or something like possessed it, and there was like something
may have been a dream.
It may be. But
you never told me about this dream.
No, you were there.
What?
I'm sure I was in the dream.
Keep going. What happened?
No, keep going.
I just
keep drawing it out.
It's like the only thing I remember about this movie. I have no idea what the movie was. But
and this would have been like the
was like
early
a
90s.
tongue or something like came out of it and like grabbed like one of the guys and like pulled him up, and he's all kicking and everything as it's pulling him up. And then it like bit onto his head, and then just like blood just pours down.
Wait. Oh gosh.
Sounds like a
you guys out
blockbuster.
there, if you know what we're talking about, leave it in the comments. Drop it down there.
I have no idea.
Because
Did it scare you?
No.
he probably
Not
just
at
thought
all.
it was weird.
I'm just like, what is
Nick
going on?
is slightly dead inside.
He has
when it
nerves of
comes
steel.
to-
This guy.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
frightens
get.
him. Me, I'm a scaredy cat, but
so
I
am I.
love being scared.
So am I.
All right, so unlike our typical format where we have like a 10 of something and Nick and I kind of go back and forth, and this isn't really Nick's forte, this topic. This was a topic that you chose. I was like, what do you want to do? And you're like, let's do scary movies.
And I'm so prepared.
And you came so prepared.
I am so prepared.
I love that movie. I don't remember anything about it.
No.
Just wipe
I
your
love
brain.
the movie, but yeah, when you're like, oh, it messed me up so bad, and then
You
you're
flashy
like,
thing to
there's
yourself,
You're
you know.
blocking
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You got to do what you got to do to survive.
But we're just going to talk about these 10 movies, one at a time, and, why they've scared us, maybe how old we were when they came out. I mean, we'll be able to tell from the dates how old we were, because we're all in the same age range. We won't say, but we're around there. We're
I feel like I'm
Gen
younger.
Xers,
I feel
all
like
of us.
I'm a lot younger.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm going to say yes, too.
I'm not. No, but I know that I'm younger than you.
Yeah, yeah,
You
you
guys,
are-
are you guys the same?
Yeah, we're.
Close.
I'm older,
He's
but
older.
by, only by a few months or so.
Oh,
I mean, we were like
but
same
grade-wise.
Yeah, same grade.
Yeah.
Same grade.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're just one grade ahead of me.
same grade as Pat.
Who won?
One. Oh, so
Right.
you're kind of
No,
old
it's
too.
Pat too. No, Pat was 2.
2 grades.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was definitely in our grade. All right, but anyways, we're gonna talk about these movies and why they scared me or Kirstie and why Nick's oblivious to it. But
Why
but
Nick feels nothing.
us talking about these movies might jog something that he remembers, and maybe he wants to get talk
Maybe
about
you
it,
wanna feel
get
it.
it off his soul, maybe. But I appreciate you coming along for the ride, Nick.
Yeah. Thanks,
All right,
Nick.
so the first movie we're going to talk about is a classic from, I believe, 1981 or 82, The Poltergeist.
I think it's maybe
1980?
2.
1982. I'm going to go with
maybe-
1982.
I don't know.
I'll throw it down in the graphics for sure
GTS
when it
it.
gets
Am
there.
I supposed to look this up?
Yeah, man, what's up?
Come on.
You brought the damn thing, and then you sat it down. But we'll talk about The Poltergeist. Okay, Craig T. Nelson, Coach, is in this house, and what can you say about this movie? I've seen it millions of times. I've seen it on cable, edited. I've seen it on
1982.
1982. Bingo.
Holla at your
Bingo,
girl.
bingo, bingo. I'd say 1980. That's close. I'm usually so good at these. Kirstie, this is one of the movies that you were like, I must talk about this. This is a movie that I can speak to.
Yeah. Pass
And-
me the mic.
And coincidentally, it is one of the monsters. Nick and I had that monsters episode that we were speaking about. One of the things from that movie terrified me.
Oh,
as
it's
a
just the
kid.
tree?
The
The
tree.
tree.
Holy crap! Now, other
Yeah.
people were afraid of the clown. Me, I was hating that tree because everybody has been like outside of a stormy, like it's a stormy night and you're looking through the window and it's kind of silhouette-y and even everything looks bigger and scarier anyway when it's like dark and raining and
And you're a kid
thunderclap.
and you're scared.
I was a kid, yeah. And in this damn movie, the tree comes to life. Like it basically becomes to life and rips the kid out through the window and eats him. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, almost eats him. His parents climb up it and they're like, "What?"
He puts it in his. He didn't digest him, I guess, but he did put
he
it.
He got yanked out.
He went into the moistness of his mouth. But yeah, so that freaked me out big time.
And that I think happened. No, when did it
in
happen?
real life?
No,
I'm trying to forget that.
I think it was when the parents were next door.
No, yeah, they were smoking
attacked.
weed or something, like not paying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've
'Cause
never
there was
seen
a
people
part where
smoke
they're
weed
getting
so much in a movie.
attacked by
Like they're
mosquitoes.
constantly getting high.
It's good times.
Probably the first time I've ever seen anybody like smoke a marijuana
I know, and
cigarette.
they look like a really happy couple.
I love
like,
that.
just
Kirstie
partakes in
Nelson
a little bit of
is-
pot, and it's real sweet.
It's Mr. Incredible, you know. The dude stands the test of
And
time.
the mom is hot. I
She
forgot.
yeah, and she got that hot scaredy streak in her hair at the end of the movie.
I'm asking you because you got that.
I don't think I can. Poltergeist. Boom. I'm mostly
Well, there
prepared. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at it. So Jo Beth Williams. Now I will tell you she died. I think. Oh, that's Jo Beth Williams. Yeah. Total hottie back in the day. She was in a lot of '80s stuff. Big Chill, Kramer versus Kramer. But she's been in some stuff recently too. Was she?
Yeah.
Was she on The Office? Am I remembering that?
I
Maybe not. But
don't think so.
yeah, she was total hottie. She was way too hot for Craig T. Nelson. I'm just gonna say.
Well, I mean,
Even if he
product
was
of
coach.
the times.
But okay, so yeah, this is a Steven Spielberg movie.
Which is nuts.
It is nuts. You think Steven Spielberg, now we've seen his catalog of movies and he has a couple of these kind of iffy, scary movies in there.
Poltergeist, I feel like, is just so good.
Yes.
I mean, the whole
not
concept.
the remake.
So he's
guys.
a realtor. He's selling these houses. They're all like mirror images of each other. They're all cookie cutter, same. You do your little upgrades, whatever. They're like this close to each other.
Yeah, and that neighborhood comes into play big time towards the end.
Right, because all the
when you
crap's
find
going
out
on.
and it's one of those like tropes of it was basically developed on top of an ancient Indian burial ground, which is where all
and
the
they
spirits
moved the
and
headstones, but they didn't move the bodies.
you bastards, you
They
greedy
didn't move
bastards.
the bodies.
But let's
Yeah.
talk about some of the major scenes in the movie, okay?
Let's do it.
I always love the scene where they're the ghost feels almost playful at this point in the movie early when the chairs are sliding.
It was fun.
And they're like playing with it, and they're like, she's like, check it
She
out.
sits her down on the spot,
Yeah,
and then it
sets her
pulls
kid on there, and the kid
she's like,
gets
you can
pulled.
feel it. It pulls you from. I mean, the whole thing. I'm like, I am hands down buying it. I'm making it rain on these people because I'm cashing the check. I believe everything that's happening. I'm like, yes.
And we
This
were
mom
little
went through
kids at the
this.
time, so it might as well have been
You
a
can watch it.
documentary.
No, you can watch it now and be like, it's so good.
It is really good. It's a
Makes
timeless
me cry.
film.
The scene where I cry every time is where they're trying to contact her. And she's all, you can hear her, and they're like, yeah, and he like
Oh
turns
yeah,
the lamp
it tugs
off.
at your heartstrings
And
because
then
it's that
she's standing there, and then she's all, it goes through, and she's all, she's in my clothes. She's all like, she can smell her in her hair. No, I'm just at home like, oh God, it's real.
I didn't.
You
quite
didn't
have
cry
that.
there.
No,
you
I
didn't cry.
He's gonna cry. He's squirting a tear just
see
thinking
it.
about it. Well, have Nick show some emotion, man. Like this kid, they get sucked into the TV. You don't know what happened.
She's stuck
and
in a.
for the first time in the movie. You're like, there's hope. She's alive.
She's alive. She's
The
just.
TV is like the thing that stands out to me that I remember about the movie. Like you would see like in magazines or comic books or whatever, that advertisement that has like the girl sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah.
That's
And the
what I
brother
think
would
of.
go, and you could see his silhouette and his teeth. Like he had braces in the second one. The second Poltergeist.
Then the second one, I was
going
gonna say, are you gonna start talking about a scary part from the second movie?
No,
Which was
but
kind
his
of freaky.
teeth were.
But that was a good scene. I dig
It was
that.
good. It
This-
was good.
what about-
and the TV guy?
What about the
TV
guy
got
who
bit.
like sees the chicken, the maggots in
Yeah,
the chicken?
that's what I'm talking
Is
about.
that
The
what you're
guy
talking
who
about?
was in charge of like filming.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I got some really good stuff, and then he's eating, and there's maggots, and the steak's all moving across the counter.
Yeah,
And then he
and
goes
it's totally
into the
like
bathroom, and he's
stop
just-
motion animation.
Oh
too.
yeah, and the bathroom scene. Okay, it's not its best. It's not the best.
Yeah.
It kind of removes you from reality
A bit,
because
a bit.
his face starts kind of like melting. But
Yeah, he
it's
looks
just
in the
like-
mirror and he's
yeah.
got like a imperfection on his face, and he starts to pick at it. He does that thing where he
He's
like
gone full meth on us, like meth mouth. Like
he was a meth
digging
head. He was
into
having a
his-
scratch fit.
Yeah, and you're just like, why would you keep doing that? Because like he sees his face is falling off, and he just keeps like ripping more of it.
Yeah, it just goes on. It goes on for a bit too long.
It does. It's not the best part.
It
but,
kind of reminds me, Nick.
but
of,
as a child, it terrified me.
oh, for sure. It's along the same lines as the Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark when like the face is melting. It's cheesy like that, but similar effect. 'Cause you're like, what the hell is happening to this guy? But then of course he kind of snaps out of
cool
it.
looking.
You would have thought that was cool. It was
You
cool.
would have
looking.
thought this was cool.
Yeah,
This was cool.
Nick, you if for nothing, if you never watch any of these other 10 movies, you should for sure check out the Poltergeist movie. Not the remake, but
It's
the
a
old one.
classic.
It like I said, it's a Steven Spielberg
moves
movie.
you.
Is it on Netflix?
Maybe, I don't know. But if you ever catch it on Netflix, watch it. It's really good. I mean, and a lot of it may seem cliched by today's standards, especially the ancient burial ground thing. Like I feel like that's been redone over and over and over again.
But didn't it start with Poltergeist? Can't we
Probably,
just give them that?
It might have. I don't know. But let's see. So there was those really cool scenes. Well, obviously the part where they go in through the closet and pull her out.
Pull her
And then
out,
once
she's
again, there's
covered
kind of
with,
that
like,
cheesy
bird.
80s effect of like the demon.
Yeah, the demon comes out. That was a bit much.
When you see the demon, it's always better in a scary movie if things are left to your imagination.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily
But
see
you know
the thing
what?
they're trying
All
to
the
do.
birth on everything was good.
All the
They're
birth.
they're throwing the tennis ball, and then it was coming down. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I got it, and they gotta like wipe all the like pink slime.
Yeah, I
off
guess
of
it was just like ecto birth, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
But you know, it's a classic movie, and obviously it's a
So
classic
good.
because they try to remake it. And
that was a flop. We watched that together.
yeah, it was a flop, and you know, it tried to
was
follow the
not
movie. Like it
good.
kind of followed all the same beats and tried
Richard
to do the
Harris's
same stuff.
son's in it. It was bad.
And it had what's his face?
Somebody Harris.
That dude who
Oh. No, I forgot.
what's his Nick? Look up the Poltergeist remake, and he's kind of an actor's actor.
Oh,
and he's in
oh,
all kinds of
no,
stuff.
yeah, he's married to the girl. They're in those commercials for
I don't read Us Weekly. I don't know like who's married.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah.
No, but they're on commercials for like washing machines.
No, it's terrible. Like what
Well,
they
but
go to washing
they-
machines? The guy won an Oscar this past year. Surely he can do better.
No, well, he's on there with his wife, and they're talking about the craziness about the kids.
Now the clown. Let's talk clowns for a second, guys.
Let's go there.
Clowns do not freak me out. I'm one of the people that appear to be unfazed by clowns and the scariness of a clown. Kirstie, where do you lay on clowns? I mean, not like that way, but that sounded dirtier than I meant it. But
On top,
on top, of
I
course.
guess.
No, how do you feel about? Do they freak you out? Like a lot of people get scared.
You
of
know, well,
clowns.
here's the thing. No, I don't have an unusually strong emotion towards clowns specifically. But if anything is standing outside on a sidewalk just staring at my house,
Yeah, that's
I'm
unnerving.
pretty scared.
And if
it's
it's a man in
dressed
makeup,
up,
sure. Mm-hmm.
yeah, then you're kind of like, what the hell?
Nick,
then
I'm-
there's a crazy aspect to it. But no, in general, I'm not like clowns.
But if you're at a circus, you're not like, get the clowns away from me.
No,
Kinda-
but I've never liked clowns, even circus clowns. I'm like, you're not funny, man. You're trying too hard.
What is it that Patton Oswalt said? They're just transvestites who don't know when to quit,
Yeah.
or something along those lines. Nick, what were you gonna say
What do
about
you
clowns?
feel about clowns?
It depends on the clown. I mean, some clowns look creepy
Mm-hmm. Sharp
as hell.
teeth. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole, the John.
Well, Pennywise is made to look extra
John
scary.
Gacy?
He's not just a
Gacy?
regular.
John?
Yeah, he was a clown, and he's kind of freaky looking too. Like, imagine you put makeup on that guy, freaky deaky. But yeah, I can already tell you, like, Nick's not gonna be like freaky, like clown
No, I
scary.
mean,
now, I think
Nick's-
you told me that you thought because you saw the clown scene because I think I sent you a
Sorry.
link to the tree scene, and you were like that clown scene I thought was scarier than the tree scene.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Yeah, well, moving on. But Poltergeist is a great flick.
Great movie.
One of the all-time good scary
Classic.
movies. It comes on around Halloween every year. You know, I always check it out. It's a flick that if it's on TV, I always will stop and watch it. 'Cause
Always.
It's just a timeless
Hands
movie.
down.
And all parts of the movie are good. By the way, we're going to spoil the shit out of crap out of a lot of these movies. If you haven't seen them, shame on you anyway. This movie's like 40 years old anyway. But if you
Not
haven't
that
seen
old
it,
yet.
it's pretty old. It's pretty old.
1982 is
It's
not 40.
about 40 years old.
Ron, do you even know how old you are?
No, I just try to pretend like I've stopped aging at 35. Okay, so we're going to move on from Poltergeist. Great flick.
Good
2
times.
thumbs up. All right.
Way up.
Second movie is the first of the first time movie for a director who's had his ups and downs. M. Night Shyamalan, who, you know, is kind of Shyamalama Ding Dong. But, you know, however you feel about the guy, I think he's more of an uptick right now. But his first movie, The Sixth Sense, was undoubtedly a classic movie.
So good.
And, Nick, I think you can even speak to The Sixth Sense, right?
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Were you, did you know about the
Did it move
twist,
you?
or was it a surprise to you?
It was a surprise to me, and it was very cool. I mean, I found it very interesting, the twist.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what's a good twist? If you can rewatch the movie and everything does make sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. That you know, then you can rewatch it, and oh yeah,
didn't
and, you
realize
know,
that
you,
was-
you catch those little points.
Donnie Wahlberg in that.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, the patient, he was all scrawny and sickly looking,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, that's Donnie Wahlberg, New Kids on the Block.
I didn't know that
Your
was
precious
Donnie
New Kids on
My
the Block.
son just said that. I was like,
Yeah.
who was he?
And he's gotten more into serious. That was kind of his jumping off point too, because
Mm.
like nobody had seen or heard from the guy forever. And then I remember seeing that movie, and he was unrecognizable. And people were like, can you believe that was Donnie Wahlberg? And I
Really?
remember
How
watching
did
it
I
again a
miss this
second time.
conversation? I did not know until like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's freaky. And he did a really good job. And he ends up, well, he's the one, spoiler, who kills, Bruce Willis's character. He gets shot right there. But then the movie picks up in such a way that you just don't think that he's dead.
You
You
just
think,
don't know.
This incident happened. Some time
He's
passes,
sad.
and then it's the next phase or next chapter.
He
of
got
his life.
better.
He's
He
not
got better.
doing well
Yeah.
with his wife. We know he's eating alone.
Right.
Sad.
There was the scenes where he couldn't. What was like something like with the basement was locked. He couldn't open that door
Oh, yeah.
to the basement. They're just really cleverly written, acted out scenes where you
It's
just
very good.
it's one of those aha kind of. It's a very aha movie.
It was a very like, oh, I just got chills like through the whole thing. Lots
Okay.
of I had lots of eye watering happening.
How
Amazing.
good was Haley Joel Osment in that movie?
Extremely good.
I mean, he's never been better. This kid who was so popular around the early to mid '90s or late '90s, I guess actually. But this was like the first time anybody had seen him in anything, and nothing takes you out of a movie like a scary movie like you got a bad kid actor. Just
Which
really,
is pretty common.
yeah, it is. It's unusual for a kid actor to come out like being that good. It almost makes you kind of wonder, like worry for the kid. But he was really good. But obviously, the guy see dead people, and the lines are really good in that movie.
Yeah.
Remember that tent or whatever when he's like he can communicate with ghosts. That's the thing. And he kind of like rushes back to the tent, and he's kind of scared. And
He's
at
very
this-
scared.
It's
and he
kind of like
runs
his
to the
safe
tent
place.
It's a
to
safe
try
pla-
to get away.
Yeah.
Because he feels it, like it gets real cold, and he knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that little touch when things get cold and something bad's about to
Yeah.
happen, or
You can
a
see his
ghost.
breath. You're like, ah, crap.
And also at this point was pivotal too because everything up to this point, it was more malevolent, but after that scene happens where like the girl pokes her head through and like barfs.
No. Before that,
Okay.
the one guy's like, "Come on, I'll show you where my dad keeps his gun," and he turns and his head's blown out.
But he can't help it. His
that's
head's
when-
blown out or
Yeah,
whatever.
but that's terrifying. You're
It
like,
is. It's-
oh God! And then he runs to the tent, and he's all,
Yeah.
and he opens his eyes, and the girl's there, and she's all, "Rah!"
Yeah,
and then
but
you're just like, your popcorn, everything's just like, pee.
I changed
It's-
my adult
it's bad.
diaper and all that.
It's not good.
Now, this movie came out the exact same time as what's that other movie? The Blair Witch Project. And that movie was getting all the buzz and the hype, and everybody was talking about how great the Blair Witch Project was. So this movie, you know, it came out and it came out of nowhere. Nobody saw this movie coming. It was M. Night Shyamalan's debut movie. It's what's so refreshing about it is it's like we're seeing a new Wes Craven or what's his name, Carpenter. Can't think of his name now, but you know, like your horror guru guys. We're seeing the start of something new. This is a new.
That's way more psychological.
Yeah.
Than the Carpenter.
But at the same time, it kind of fell into this trap, and there's another one of his movies that are on the list as well. It kind of fell into this whole trap where you started expecting that twist ending to come because it was this thing. Yeah. So now the whole movie. It started it, and there weren't a lot of movies that utilized that twist. And I still can't watch a movie nowadays, especially with him, where I'm like paying attention to details. And I'm almost not even enjoying what scary things are happening because I'm trying to like get one step ahead.
But did you see the twist coming in The Happening?
Yes.
You thought it was the damn daggone trees?
It really wasn't even anything that was much of a surprise. I mean,
I just found that to be pretty.
The Happening was terrible. That's
my happening boner went. Ow.
that for sure was the downfall of Shyamalan. But I think
yes, that was the start
another
of
movie that people kind of feel like was when he started going downhill was The Village, which I personally thought was really good.
I did too.
And I saw that twist coming though too. Like it was, but I was one of the first of my friends. Like you know, it was a group of us that went and we all watched it. And I was like, when did you have it figured out? And most of them were like, oh, I didn't really have it figured out until the end. I didn't know. And I was like, oh my God, like I figured it out so fast. Like as soon as they showed those little lock boxes in one of the rooms, I was like, wait a second, what's in those boxes? And
what?
It was like their IDs. It was like their history from like the 70s before they went off.
No, I was not there.
I totally knew it. I just knew it.
I was not in a place where I'm like, what's it gonna be?
But back to The Sixth Sense.
Sorry.
I mean, when I think of The Sixth Sense, it's all about the twist ending, really.
So good.
I haven't.
All those things though, that was terrifying. The poor little boy. I mean, when he's crying and you're just like, oh God, he got locked in a closet. He was at that party.
Yeah.
And they locked him in the closet. And then he was
it's
stuck
really
in
heartbreaking.
there with someone. He's screaming. I mean, that movie, I teared up many times. That was the first movie I
It's just
screamed.
like Harry Potter.
I screamed in the theater. That was the first time I'd ever done that. I do it all the time now.
Really?
Second nature.
Which part made you freak out and scream?
I think it was when the girl threw up.
Yeah, that was a little
She was
freaky.
suddenly there, and it was like...
She was all pale. Like, but like I said, like
good.
then you kind of start to learn there's like a little something more to these ghosts. Like they want something. Mm-hmm. They're not really there to scare him. They're just scary because they're dead.
They're trying to communicate with him.
Yeah, he's just a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom thinks he's taken her jewelry. Really, it was his grandma because she wanted to wear it again. I mean, there's a lot. Nick, feel it.
Nick's feeling it. I can tell.
I feel it. I like that movie.
That was a good flick.
Good. Okay, good.
All right, so The Sixth Sense, great movie. Once again, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It was the first M. Night Shyamalan movie, and
I didn't realize it was his first movie. I figured there was some crap we hadn't seen, and then there was
no. He came out like gangbusters, big time. That was it, and then he had so many hits in a row, and then just kind of fell off. He did like The Last Airbender. You know, just like odd things. Like, why is he doing this movie? Where's the twist going to happen here?
It was the water one.
Oh, Lady in the Water?
Yeah.
That was not so good too.
That went no.
Yeah, it was weird.
Okay.
Unbreakable though, great movie.
Oh, so good.
A lot of people love that movie.
There's that one, Mr. Glass or whatever's coming.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a sequel because it's tying into the other movie that's recent of his that was good.
Was it good?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
What am I thinking of?
The psychological.
Yeah, it has James McAvoy in it and Split. Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
So
okay,
good.
We're getting off subject.
So good. It's a small movie. He does better when he's got smaller movies. Well, and The Visit was pretty decent too. The movie about the kids who go to visit their grandparents.
Oh God, yes, that was good.
And they didn't realize that those guys
here.
that were pretending to be their grandparents were actually escaped lunatics.
Oh my God, that was so good.
No, I didn't see that coming at all. That was good.
That was so good. Did you see it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, The Visit. It's pretty good. I even loved it despite that dopey kid and his lame raps. Remember his like lame rap, like
why did they have
rapping
to do that?
white kid stuff.
It was it was like a producer's child or something. You're like, God, why?
Well, and it was like just Jennifer Hahn, who's really hilarious. It was like their kids, and she pops up from time to time in like webcam messages, like phone calls or whatever. Yeah. She's like dancing on a cruise ship. Meanwhile, her kids are going through all this weird stuff.
God, it was
gave me the chills. Good. That was the movie that got him back on track, I think. Okay, third movie we're gonna talk about. We're gonna pull from another. Obviously, they're all scary movies, but this is another guy who I consider to be one of the big up and comers, and he's not even really an up and comer now because a lot of his movies are big nowadays. But The Conjuring, and I'm talking about James Wan, who is a genius. I love this guy. All of his movies are in this freaky, like, the way he directs a movie, the way he uses negative space to freak you out, like things that are going on the side. In a lot of his movies, like he doesn't go for the jump scare. He goes for that slow build tension scare where something's happening in the foreground. Well, the main character's in the foreground, but in the background, and sometimes it's not even full focus. Something's creepy's happening. And it just it escalates and builds.
Look at you knowing all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm a movie fanatic. I love this stuff. But, The Conjuring was his first... No, not his first movie. Insidious was his first big movie. But this was like...
I've seen the first one of that.
Insidious?
You and I watched one of them.
Insidious is pretty good. The first two are good. The third one is not so good. And the fourth one's not too bad. But yeah, The Conjuring is... now, the thing about The Conjuring is it's one of those based on a true story. Mm-hmm. This is the first of those kinds of movies that we're talking about. Yeah. For me, it always adds a little something extra when you know that it's based on a true story, even if you totally don't believe that it could possibly happen. The fact that
it's real, Nick.
somebody spoke it, they wrote a book about it or something, and then it caught on. And the Warrens are the real people in this movie.
Yeah.
Now I've listened to the audiobook based on the book that they wrote about demonology and stuff, and possession and like all the characteristics, all the keystones of what makes a possession, and it's riveting because they approach it very scientifically.
Yeah, they're good.
And so it's like
they're so good.
It's a husband and wife team, and this is a story about them and their first big breakthrough case, and it's about this family who move into this old farmhouse far away, secluded. Obviously makes for the best scary stuff.
Because it's real.
Yeah, and it's just this family. And they moved into this house where like a lot of horrible stuff happened. It's as far as scary movies, scary stories go, it's nothing new. But the way this guy presents the movie and the way he shoots it, and like I said before, uses that negative space and like misdirection, it's so scary.
So good.
And a lot of his movies...
Is it the opening scene where they're playing the blindfolded...
I don't remember if that's the opening scene, but that's like the
somebody
scene...
has to clap. Because I say maybe opening scene because I tried to get my husband to watch it. And as soon as that scene was on, he was like, I'm not enjoying this. I want it off.
No, the opening scene was the Annabelle origin where the two nurses had that doll.
Okay. But yes, then after that.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
That in terms of that family, that was like the opening scene. Like you see them move in, and they're all happy, and they're happy to have this house, and everything's uplifting, and they're making like home videos, and it's very sweet and uplifting. But then, as most of these movies do, something like benign happens. You're not really sure. Like, did you hear that? Did you see that? And it kind of leads. It's almost playful.
Yeah.
But in most of these things, like, it is. It's like playful because it's trying to get attention, and then next thing you know, you're in its trap, and it's full on haunting you. But yeah, they have that game where the kids would walk around and how did it work?
Was it like Marco Polo? It was something because
you had
she
to
would
hide.
Look and they'd have to clap.
Yeah, you hide, and if you are hiding, you get like 2 claps or 3 claps. So if you're looking around and you can't find, you go, give me my first clap, and then like whoever's hiding will clap. So then you're like, oh, they're over there. So you may not be in that room.
Conceptually, I enjoy this.
Oh yeah, no, they make it so terrifying in the actual movie.
You're like, that will never happen.
Well, the reason that's so interesting is that's a good payoff towards the end of the movie with the mother, because it is an innocent game, but the ghost is messing with them because she's like locked in that cellar, like basement area, and it's all dark. and she's got like
Taking
the
me
like
back.
match. She's like,
I
and
left
she's
this
like
movie
looking.
in the past.
Again, it's another one of those Mr. X. You're looking down into the basement. It's pitch black. You expect something down there to scare you, and so she lights the thing, and then out of nowhere, like from behind her, out of black space,
Oh,
like a hand comes up from behind her and goes clap, clap, and like the light goes out, and she's freaking out.
Wanna play hide and clap?
As was everyone in the theater.
It's a
in the
solid
theater.
scare.
Oh, God. I screamed in that. Terrified to go to the bathroom. It was.
But the cool thing about this movie too is they really build this lore of the Warrens. You get a look at their museum. That's real. They go to these different cases. They work these cases. They'll whatever artifact that it is that turns out that's haunting these families. They'll take the artifact. They'll put it in this museum, lock it away, and then they have like a priest come by a couple of times a week and blesses everything in the room. And that's where Annabelle is, and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff, like the little like Jack in the Box thing that you catch in the trailer. Mm-hmm. But that's like a real thing. Like there's somebody that comes and blesses like that room. Now the husband is dead, but I think she's still alive. Maybe she's dead too.
No, I think she's still alive.
She may still be around. But
I think she is.
So it's your typical like Exorcist type movie. Like they're trying to get to the mother. She goes full on possessed, and like a lot. The third act is them basically trying to save her soul. And one of the cool scenes that I remember very vividly in this movie is when the mother's like up in the upstairs room by herself, like laying down, and they're Lorraine Warren, I think is her name. She's downstairs next to a clothesline, and there's wind whipping around everywhere. And she's getting this like crazy. She's like the one that's sensitive to ghosts and spirits, so she can feel and sometimes even see things that happened. Like she saw like the corpse hanging from the tree or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like she sees this stuff. That's her curse.
Yeah, and she also sees her husband's death, which is a reoccurring theme.
Yeah, like, when's this gonna happen?
Yeah, she's terrified of it.
But anyways, back to this clothesline. It's great because the wind whips so hard, and then a sheet like flies off the line, and it covers like a figure.
Yeah.
It's like a figure standing there. And then the sheet then blows off the figure. You don't see the figure anymore. It blows up to the window up at the top. And then then after that, the sheet like blows away from the window. And then there's this like poltergeist or whatever, like standing in the window. Like it's real awesome how they did it.
And all the turds roll down your pants.
That's when you had to go excuse yourself to the bathroom. But this is one of those flicks. Now, but The Conjuring, James Wan, like I said, went on to do a bunch of like there's
what else did he do?
Well, he did those movies, then he did like a Fast and Furious movie, strangely. Now he's more or less a producer. Like he's done the Sinister movie he was a producer on with what's his face?
I don't know.
Ethan Hawke. So that was a good movie. He's produced there's the Annabelle spinoffs. They did The Conjuring too.
Did you?
The first one was I liked them both. I thought they were both pretty scary. They're decent, and especially if the Annabelle doll gave you creeps, like it did most people.
Yeah, I mean it did.
By the way, that was a really cool intro into the movie. Like that doll like coming back. They throw the doll out and it keeps reappearing, kind of in a Chucky way, but you never see it move around ever.
Right.
I like movies like this too that are set in a period, like they're a period piece, and this one's in the 70s, and it's like a pre-cell phone. Like, there's parts of the movie where, they're trying to rush back to the house, and there's not any communication. Like nowadays, it's like instant communication. These types of scares from the 70s movies like wouldn't really fly nowadays.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I like seeing these movies that are like set in the 70s. I don't know what it is. It's like a scarier time for me. Maybe that's just a good.
What?
It's the cars and the clothes and the hair and
Nick's
the gold
like,
chains.
Not me. I wasn't scared.
No, you weren't scared at all. All right, but that's what we'll say about anything else you'd like to say about The Conjuring?
Good movie. Go see it.
Good movie. Go check it out.
Balls.
It is Amazeballs. James Wan's awesome. Okay. Next movie on our list is a good oldie but a goodie. It's about, I'm not even going to get into what it's about. We're just going to go ahead and say Nightmare on Elm Street. And depending on who you are on this couch, you either found it hilarious or absolutely poop your
Terrifying.
pants scary. Now, I'm going to give you guys one guess who found it mostly hilarious.
It was not the White Machete.
That's not what I said. I said it was goofy.
It was goofy. Okay.
Get out of here now, please. Now.
Hey, you forgot the power glove.
Well, okay, that's
And it is. But I mean, if you watch it now, I think it's complete trash.
the series
as a
is
kid-
goofy, and even when you're like repeating
I
back to
watched
the
it
scenes,
later on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see it as a kid.
Okay, so I back you up on that.
the
'Cause as a
premise
kid,
is
you're like,
absolutely
what?
the premise is absolutely terrifying. It's
Yeah, you
it's
can't-
about this
You can't sleep.
Molesting, like child molester guy who gets like burned alive, and he makes a deal with the devil and becomes this.
But wait, was he a child molester?
Yeah, that was it. That was the whole point of the Elm Street parents tracked him down.
But
He got
thought-
off, like he was going to go to jail, but he got off on a technicality or something. And so the parents took it upon themselves to go burn his house down.
See,
with
I
him
thought
and-
there was a moment where you felt sorry for him that he had been burned.
Freddy?
That really, yeah, I thought it came out that really he was wrongly burned
No,
alive.
no, I
and
don't
then
think
that's
so.
why he went after people.
I thought it was something to do with.
That's why he was killing all the kids, because he was mad.
Well,
'Cause he was like,
Well, he
totally
was
burned.
mad that the parents killed him,
sweater
so
was ruined.
his way to get revenge was to kill their kids. So that was why he was mad.
I guess I missed all that.
No, he was a legit. He was like, for real murder. And then I think in one of the last movies Robert Englund was in, the Freddy's Dead, they show a flashback where they don't show a kid getting molested, but he's got like their clothes or something, and he's for sure
see,
up to
but
no
I
good.
feel like maybe it morphed into that, but I feel like at some point you are thinking, oh God, he was burned.
that's what
and
I'm
he
thinking,
shouldn't
is that
have been."
it kind of evolved into that.
Is that what you
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
I
'Cause
feel,
I feel like
I've
there
read
was-
something about
Yeah,
that.
where you're like, oh God, no wonder he's really mad. Of course he wasn't dead.
I think-
he's like burned. Oh God, we did him wrong.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna get
yeah.
revenge on the kids.
I
The
kind
Why
of feel like
wouldn't
if you're
he?
only going by the 1984 movie, you don't
Yeah.
really get that so much, and it evolved into that.
I just
But
feel
I
like it
don't
was
feel
so
like the
heavily implied that
molester
like he
thing-
was guilty but just got off, and then the parents burned his house down because they were upset that he got off.
No.
Let us know if you're with me, if you're team Kirstie Nick,
I'm
or
not
if you're
saying-
team.
no. I think that it probably morphed to these later ones, but I feel like there was a time in the 80s.
Because it definitely is
Where
that
you-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a time in the 80s where you're thinking,
So let's talk
He
about
was
this. So what
wrongly
you're saying is,
accused.
in the movie, the way you took it was that you're not sure if he was the molester.
no, I
child
felt
killer?
like it came out that, oh my God, he was done wrong, and he's like out for blood. That was my take on it.
I maybe
was
haven't
just a
seen it
kid.
as recently, so I'm gonna have to watch that again closely and see.
I can't watch him again. I feel like it's just so awful. It's
Well,
that's
let's
a
back
movie
up
that
and
I
talk
will
about the
not
premise.
Say, go watch.
Let's talk about what made this movie so unique and good. And then it's that he is this sort of, being thing that is able to live in the kids' nightmares. And only
Yeah.
kids for some reason, like it had to be kids. You had to be, it's like there was a legend of Freddy. And if you didn't believe, like if there wasn't this fear among the townspeople that Freddy was real, he wasn't powerful
right.
enough
Yeah.
to come
he
to
fed
life.
off of fear.
He
'Cause
fed
I
off the
remember
fear
as
and
a
the kids'
kid being
nightmares.
like, this is how you beat him. You have to
Nice.
be brave.
You guys remember the song, the 1-2 Freddy's Coming for You song? Oh, that was so creepy because they would play the song and then the little girls are jumping rope in slow motion. Oh, that gave me the willies. Now, I may.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
Now, here's another instance too where I didn't see this movie young, but a cousin of mine, an older cousin of mine, actually like almost scene for scene told me about the movie at a very young age. And it came out in '84, so I was pretty young. And her description of the movie was pretty terrifying. And then I later saw the movie, and that time it was probably the late '80s, early 90s when he was well into like the Dream Warrior and almost kind of like quippy pun guy who you almost root
Yeah.
for in a way because all the kids are like little shits in a way, and you're not like necessarily rooting for the kids to die, but at the same time you're like, yeah, Freddy, go.
Kinda over it.
You're kind of like not too worried about
Right.
it.
All right, once again. This is your brain. This is your brain. On drugs. Questions?
Yeah! What are you on? Looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me.
But that first one was pretty scary. And the scene, one of the scenes that I think is meant to make you really feel unnerved, Nick had mentioned that, like, with the long arms, kind of like you see the silhouette of the arms.
That was goofy.
Oh my God, that freaked me out so much. I really did not care for that.
The concept of not being able to sleep
Yeah, that's a good one.
that was a scary thing.
And it was
As a
always the
kid,
same in
it
every
was just
movie.
like,
The
oh,
kids,
God.
the kids would take sleeping pills. They would do whatever they could to stay awake.
Yeah.
And they were like crazy by the end of the movie, because they haven't slept in days. And I also love too how like Freddy would almost kind of like toy with them, like you if you were aware of it, you were in a dream, you could kind of like, it's like that lucid dreaming thing where if you're aware you're in a dream, you can kind of make things happen. Mm-hmm. And that's where these kids kind of realize they have power, so they're fighting Freddy. Nick's looking something up over there.
2010.
See, in the original, he was just a child killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 2010 remake, it suggested that he's a child molester.
He's a Chester child.
Okay.
Chester.
All right, but it definitely before even the 2010 remake. Because see, the 2010 remake I didn't care for. It didn't have Robert Englund. It had that Jackie Hale early guy, the guy who played Rorschach from the Watchmen movies, played Freddy. And he wasn't terrible, but I didn't really care for the remake all that much.
Yeah, I haven't seen the
I didn't
remake.
Now, I kind of liked Freddy versus Jason. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I liked
you
that.
really?
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I thought that was a cool, like, because you hadn't had a Freddy or a
thought you
Jason
had
movie in so
class.
long. I don't. I really don't. You thought wrong.
No, I didn't see it, but it was enough.
It's
to know
totally
it
good.
Existed to go.
I liked it. You should
okay.
give it a chance. Don't be so snobby.
Well,
and
I
mighty with
hated
your original run.
Listen,
it has
even
Robert
as
Englund.
a kid, terrified of Freddy, I hated him. I hated his quips. I hated the dumb stuff.
His quips were
Ugh,
silly.
Stick around. And like someone's like stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was like, oh,
We're not
I hate
talking about
that.
we're not talking about all the sequels because they were for sure goofy and weird.
Yeah.
Fun. I liked them. I was always, I saw I think Freddy's Dead in 90 was the first one I actually saw in theaters, but I always caught them on home video. Those are some of the first movies that I was brave enough to want to rent and watch for the first time. When you go to video stores back in the day, they would always have like the VHS,
Right.
pictures of and there was all kinds of weird stuff going on always in those boxes. Usually consisted of like Freddy's demon face in the background and all
Right.
the kids together, and they each they have their own little stories, and it was silly. It was silly, but the original, I'm gonna stand by the original, is pretty terrifying. I dug it.
Oh, it definitely terrified me. Definitely did.
Moving on from Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, we're gonna go to a little movie from Stephen King that was a lot of people our age's first Stephen King movie, I guess. And it was pretty damn terrifying, and it was Pet Sematary from 1989.
So good.
Kirstie, this was the movie that you had brought up. What stands out in your mind about Pet Sematary? What freaked you out so hard?
Precious little Gage.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He's just a little bitty old baby. He's out playing.
Keep going.
He's out playing. He gets hit by a truck.
Yeah,
It's awful.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a dry eye
yeah.
for miles.
Okay.
For miles.
I know what's up in this movie. I'm not gonna squat. I'm not gonna shed a tear for this. What? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm an animal lover. I really am. No.
No. So the cat dies.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like Jingles or some crap.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the kid.
I'm
oh
talking
yeah,
about the
yeah,
kid
yeah.
Gage.
For sure.
He's
That
precious.
was
The
terribly,
cat. All right, the cat
terribly
dies.
sad.
They bury the cat. The cat comes back. It's
Yeah.
a jerk.
Oh, he
It's
was
a
an
complete jerk of a cat. But
asshole cat.
Cats can be assholes. So
Yeah, they
you're
can.
still kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Then the kid dies.
The kids.
That's when it gets bad.
a very compelling
Dad's
reason.
like, has it ever been done? And the neighbor's like, that ground is, what's he say? He
oh,
says,
that's sacred ground. Or I don't know like what it
soiled,
is.
Or it's,
Yeah.
He says something like it's like soured. I think that's
Oh,
what he
that's
said.
right. Yeah, he
ground
basically
is
refers to
sour.
it as sour land or sour
Yeah.
soil.
And then you're like, ooh.
The Indians knew that. They stopped using that burial ground when the ground went sour.
But of course, you got this option. You got to do it.
Yeah,
And then
well, he was so
Gage comes
distraught, he
back.
had to do something. And the cat, it worked for the cat.
It worked for the cat. The cat was a little off, but Gage.
The cat wasn't quite right. But if you're that, I mean,
It wasn't murdering the town.
No, not at all.
The cat wasn't. Did you see it?
I vaguely remember this movie, but do you know what scene? I vaguely remember this movie. It's
All right,
like one of those things that I saw.
Tell me the scene.
I saw at a younger age, and there's one scene in particular that freaked me out, and I hated it. And it still stands up as creepy
Tell
as
me
hell.
everything
And that
you
is
know.
the sister.
Zelda.
My sister Zelda. My sister died in the back bedroom, and that's what she was. A dirty secret. I had to feed her sometimes. I hated it.
Zelda in the room when
In the attic.
yeah, and they like open the door, and you're like, what is wrong with this person?
Oh,
and she's got
God.
like spina bifida or something.
It's
you know?
something that shouldn't be shunned.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and you see
we
like her
shunned
tongue,
her.
like she turns around, and you're like, and they're creeping up on her, and oh my god, that scene was
that was terrifying.
Yeah, that
Actually, my girlfriend and I, we watched it. We were probably in 6th grade or something.
yeah, for
And,
sure. You're the perfect age for like a sleepover.
That scene was like, I mean, we were just like, ah! Like we couldn't go to the bathroom alone. We were terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, opening the door, you knew you were gonna see her.
Never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again.
That was awful.
It was so slow too. You're like
And
creeping
it was
up.
random as hell.
It
Like, Where
was.
did that? What does that even have to do with anything? What that has nothing to do with Gage or.
I
guess
actually
it
found
was-
that scene more scary than anything else in the movie. Like it just disturbed me. It disturbed
The
me. is
rest
what
of
it
it's
did.
just so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
kills. I mean, Gage is going around, and then his dad finally gives him a shot to kill him.
Yeah.
And Gage he's just walking down the hall, and he's all, no fair.
No.
Fair, no fair. And you're all, oh God, he's going.
Now, do
It's
you know that they're
terrible.
remaking this movie?
Man, I'm over this.
Of course.
stuff.
I'm
over it.
almost positive they're remaking this movie.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you? Okay.
What's wrong with
I don't
everyone?
know. I don't know, man. They're just running out of ideas, so they're just gonna stop doing anything original. No, that's not true. There are some original movies that we've talked about, but in recent movies too that are
Yeah.
not necessarily on this list, and we may have to shout out because we cut them.
Give a shout out to Witch.
Shout out to the Witch, yeah. No, there's all kinds of these like really
That toe us up real bad.
interesting movies that you would like. I call them like Netflix finds.
Yeah.
You'll do like a Google search on like what are some scary movies available on Netflix, and there'll always be these like 10 or 20 movies that are kind of obscure. And movies like The Babadook and The Witch were those kinds of movies, and they're really unique and scary and small budgets and original. But yeah, the Pet Sematary was I want to say that was like the height of Stephen King's theatrical
Yeah.
run back in the
Yeah.
day. Movies
He's
after
gone
that
down.
were like Sleepwalkers. Like that movie came out soon after that. The Tommy Knockers.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Sleepwalkers wasn't.
What were
It's
they?
not
They
as
were
bad.
like
I mean,
vampire
Stephen King has
things.
like area rugs attacking families now. like it's gone so bad that you're like, I don't even care.
I don't know. I don't care either.
He's good on Twitter.
I've never followed him on Twitter. Oh, but I've seen his tweets.
Yeah.
I don't. He gets way too political, though. I feel like. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you're having a good time. You're feeling kind of scared and freaked out. You need to go check out these 5 movies. We're gonna pause here. We're not gonna pause, but we're gonna put a pin in this topic, and we're gonna come back next week for 5 more scary movies that scared us. Bit redundant. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can check us out on our podcast services everywhere, including iTunes and Spotify, among others. If you're listening to us right now and you didn't know we had a YouTube channel, please consider checking us out on youtube.com/BitGeeks, where you can actually see us enjoying talking to each other and add extra touches included in the video in tremendous 4K video.
Hey.
And then also, if you enjoyed yourself, and if you're stuck around for the whole episode, please share with your friends, subscribe, kindly press the like button, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. Nick and I appreciate the feedback, and you know, we like to know what you guys are thinking. We're not just sitting here talking to ourselves. You know, people out there actually listen, and we've gotten some feedback recently. We really appreciate that. But anyways, for this week, we'll be back next week for the conclusion of this episode. I've been your host, Ron Avis.
I'm Nick Wright.
Kirstie.
Just get that flopped around. We'll see you next week. Bye.